Recording soon. Check.
Oh, that's right. Sure. Are you ready?
Student section, that's the student.
They're going to come in right
Oh,
here.
okay, good.
I'm going to bring them in. So you all can go ahead and have a seat and I will bring them in. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for this exciting occasion. My name is Julie Lockman, and I'm the Assistant Vice President for Graduate Education here at the WVU Health Sciences Center. And now please join me in welcoming our participating doctoral students. And here they come. Okay. Before we begin, I would like to recognize the faculty leaders in the Office of Research and Graduate Education, and please stand if you are present. Dr. Ming Lei, Senior Associate Vice President for Research and Graduate Education. Dr. Al Baretti, Assistant Vice President for Research. Dr. Karen Martin, Director of Core Resources. Dr. Ed Pastilli, Director of Admissions. I also want to recognize the two deans of our health sciences schools who were able to make time to be with us on this special occasion. They are seated on the stage. We have Dr. Clay Marsh, Chancellor and Executive Dean for Health Sciences and Dean for the School of Medicine. And Dr. Jeff Coben, Dean of the School of Public Health. Additionally, we are fortunate to have numerous faculty serving as graduate program directors, a critical role in supporting our students in their research journey. Would all of the PhD graduate program directors present today please stand to be recognized? We also want to recognize the Health Sciences Center department chairs present today who provide critical support of our graduate students, graduate faculty, and graduate programs. Would any department chairs present today please also stand to be recognized? Lastly, we want to extend our sincere appreciation to Linda Nine and the staff in the Office of Alumni Affairs and to Logan Miller over here, and the Office of Research and Graduate Education, who are always instrumental in ensuring this ceremony takes place and is a special event for all participants. Today's research induction and awards ceremony marks the entry of our graduate students into the research training phase of their education. In the next few years, they will learn the skills necessary to pose research questions and make discoveries that will culminate in their doctoral dissertation. Audience members, your role as friend and support system will intensify. And for many of you, it will be a tricky role at times. When things go wrong, as they inevitably do in research, lend an ear and be a supportive listener. At first, you may not understand the research itself, but ask your friend or loved one to explain it to you in a way that anyone can understand. You will almost certainly hear about frustrations when things don't work out. At these times, try to help the student remember why they started the journey in the first place. And at times of uncertainty, remind them of the challenges that they've already overcome and their commitment to making a difference. Today, we provide each student with a white lab coat that serves as a symbol of research. For many students, the lab coat serves to protect their clothing from many things. And trust me, you don't want to track those things around with you, so you will leave it in the lab. For others, the white coat is a symbol of professionalism, integrity, and your commitment to pursuit of excellence in your chosen research discipline. It is our hope that all of you wear your coats proudly and that your pursuits are plentiful, gratifying, and impactful. As a token of support, our health sciences PhD alumni have provided words of encouragement to each of you, which can be found in one of the pockets of your lab coat that you're holding. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Ming Lei, our Senior Associate Vice President for Research and Graduate Education, for additional comments.
Thank you, Julie. Welcome to the 2023 Research Induction Ceremony that commemorates our PhD students transitioning into the dissertation research phase of their studies. This ceremony is a unique WVU Health Science Center tradition. Among the hundreds of PhD programs that I have had opportunities to interact with, ours is the only one that carries this great tradition to celebrate the important milestone in graduate students' journey to become research scientists. We are so grateful that the founders of this great tradition are here with us for our students. I'm honored to present to you Linda Nine. Can you stand, please, Linda? Yes. And Dr. Fred Minier up there. Who started the research induction ceremony, I don't know, 20 years ago? We'll find out, right? And doctors, and Dr. Ann Cather. Stand up, please. She along with Dr. Jim Culberson, who was going to be here, but unfortunately tested positive for COVID this morning. So he wouldn't be able to, and as well as the late Dr. Bob Craig. They authored the oaths that you will take today. So we are in for a treat since Linda and Anne has graciously agreed to share with us the story, the history behind this great tradition. So let's invite Linda to give her remarks. Yeah.
You have a great big long speech. Research plays a vital role in healthcare. It provides new drugs, therapies, medical devices, that improve the quality of life for all of us. I have a dual passion, one for students, one for research. Passion is a compelling love, but I have learned a long time ago that love without action is worthless. I wanted to demonstrate in a very visible way my passion and the institution's commitment to value and to the success of our research students, of which I am very proud of. Therefore, I took my idea for a formal ceremony recognizing our research students to Dr. Fred Manier, then the Assistant Dean for Graduate Studies. His excitement and support were phenomenal, and I enjoyed working with him. 17 years later, this ceremony still brings tears to my eyes to see this auditorium full of people who share my passion. You know, whether it's on the football field, basketball court, in a classroom, in the hospital, in a laboratory, wherever, whatever your journey that brought you here, you're now mountaineers. Mountaineers, once a mountaineer, always a mountaineer. So I'd like to say congratulations on your life so far, and what lies ahead of you is exciting. And also Godspeed to all of you. And I'd like to say, let's go Mountaineers.
Thank you, Linda. Now, Dr. Cashier.
Thank you, Dr. Lay. A different life ago, when I was one of the associate deans of student services for the School of Medicine, I was on stage at graduation, and we have the medical students recite the Hippocratic Oath. And it was quite apparent that our doctoral students who were getting their PhD sat and listened and didn't become a real big part of the ceremony. And I didn't think that was quite right. So I took an idea that maybe our future scientist colleagues should be also citing some affirmation or oath of their integrity and professionalism. And I took this idea to Dr. Bob Craig and Dr. Jim Culberson, and they loved the idea. The three of us sat and did a lot of word shopping, a lot, as I imagine some of you will be doing papers and re-editing. Yes, that took a long time, but we came up with what we thought was what we wanted to say. And Bob submitted it to the Science Journal. At that time, there were maybe 4 or 5 articles that talked about, oh, yes, our school does an oath, or, some variation of Hippocratic Oath. But we had our first, and he proposed that that should be used nationwide. Fred Manier has been very, very supportive of the oath and made sure that it was said at every graduation then on. And I think the first time it was recited was in 2003. So this will mark the 20th anniversary. And congratulations to the students, and go forth and conquer.
Thank you. And so you guys are lucky, and you have them, Dr. Fred, to thank for. Thank you. So just as I mentioned, this is a unique tradition here. So never had my own research induction ceremonies as a graduate student. And I couldn't help but imagining what this moment would mean to you while working on this remarks last night. So with the benefit of hindsight, that's 30 plus years, and sprinkled with a bit of envy, here are my thoughts I would like to share with you. First and foremost, this means that you're transitioning from being primarily a receiver of knowledge to being a receiver as well as a creator of knowledge. So what you will be doing explores the space that is unknown to mankind. Every experiment of yours could lead to discoveries that change the world. You may think I'm exaggerating, but if you think about how Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin, you probably will agree with me. So be curious, remain curious, and be brave. Don't hesitate to ask questions. It means that you're entering one of the most important professional relationships in your career. Your dissertation advisors or mentors, some you will say, is going to be instrumental in helping you obtain the skills needed to get that PhD degree in the next few years. But he or she is also likely to be your lifelong champion, sponsor, collaborator, and maybe even friend. So cherish that relationship, nurture that relationship, and you'll benefit from it. It means that you're going to run into experiments that repeatedly fail. Well, that's not personal. Remember, it happened to Thomas Edison a few hundred times too. So be resilient, be persistent. It also means that you will experience eureka moments when stubborn experiments that you have been battling for a long time all of a sudden started to produce results just as you dreamed about, just as you expected, right? When you have such triumphs, enjoy. Go out with your friend to have a beer, have an ice cream, and even a cigar. Sorry, Dr. Coben. Okay, I'll qualify it. That's a celebratory cigar once in a while. Okay. But after that, always go back, looking at your data again and asking, are there additional insights the data will provide? It is a great habit to develop. And here's why. At the very end of Watson and Crick's paper describing the double helix structure of DNA, they stated, quote, "It has not escaped our notice that the specific pairing we have postulated immediately suggests a possible coping mechanism for the genetic material." This seemingly lighthearted suggestion or prediction was so insightful, actually, it helped power another Nobel-winning discovery only 3 years later that revealed the semi-conservative DNA replication mechanism. That was by Dr. Arthur Kornberg. So be imaginative, be creative, be bold. I wish you all enjoy a happy and productive PhD training experience at HSC. Good luck. Now I would like to turn the podium to Dr. Corey Robinson. He's the director of the Immunology and Micropathogenesis PhD program and a professor at the Department of Microbiology, Immunology, and Cell Biology to introduce today's guest speaker. Corey?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker, Dr. Clay Caswell. So Clay is a proud native of Texas and received his baccalaureate degree at Texas A&M University in 2004. After that, he came east looking for new life experiences and geographical experiences and landed right here at WVU. He pursued his PhD in the Immunology and Microbial Pathogenesis program in my department. He worked with my colleague Sławek Lukomsky and explored mechanisms of group A Streptococcus virulence. Students to be coded today. Dr. Caswell was responsible for 8 publications as lead author or co-author in his doctoral work alone, which is an impressive accomplishment to strive for. After graduate work, he went on to postdoctoral work at East Carolina University. And he did that with Marty Roop and studied Brucella abortus virulence. So this is an important bacterial pathogen in wild and domestic animals, and in particular animals associated with agriculture. He continued to be productive in his postdoctoral work and then was awarded his first faculty position at Virginia Tech University in 2013 in the Department of Biomedical Sciences and Pathobiology in the Virginia Maryland College of Veterinary Medicine. He was then promoted and tenured in 2019. After establishing an independent laboratory, he was enormously successful. So he's had quite an extensive number of publications in excellent journals, such as Molecular Microbiology, Journal of Biological Chemistry, Applied and Environmental Microbiology, Journal of Bacteriology, Infection and Immunity, Scientific Reports, just to name a few. His productivity in disseminating findings into the literature is consistent with having maintained a funded laboratory for the last decade, which is the same period of time that he's had an independent laboratory. So he's had funding from national agencies such as the American Heart Association, National Institutes of Health, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Among these mechanisms, the R15 mechanism, which is a research enhancement award, and an important component of this grant is training of young scientists in the laboratory. He's done that with scientists at all levels, from undergraduate to postdoctoral scientists. In Clay's lab, he's continued to study Brucella species and the impact of small regulatory RNAs in controlling bacterial virulence in that important bacterial pathogen. Professional accolades aside, it's been a real pleasure to interact with him the last couple of days. He's got tremendous perspective on life and science and the training of young scientists. So please join me in welcoming back Dr. Clay Caswell.
That was way too kind. And I think the other talk, they said everything perfectly. So I don't know what I have to add, but I'm going to try. Okay. So it's really humbling to be here. And this is kind of difficult for me to come up with something. I'm not used to giving talks like this. But when I was told that my job is to motivate the next generation of scientists, that's a little bit of a daunting task. But we'll do my best. And I was given a few minutes and I'll be as brief as possible. Okay. But I'm going to kind of talk to this group if that's all right. I'll bring in a few folks as I need to. But I came up with 3 points. Okay. I don't know if they're good or bad, but y'all can tell me later. But there's something I want you to think about as you're doing this. So the first one, I want you to consider mentors, peers, and your role models. And I'm going to tell you that they're one and the same. Okay. And I could give you a number of examples, but I'm going to give you two because they're in the room. And I want you to take both of them as an example. The first is Sławek Lakomski. All right. Yeah. All right. And I'm going to say this, those things that I mentioned, but by definition, he was my mentor because I worked in his lab. Okay. But these other things, the role model, and then also, just being a mentor, but a peer, becoming a peer later on through the process. But Sławek's somebody who's definitely a role model that I look up to, still doing science his way, but also the way he lives his life. So this is somebody, it didn't have to be that way, but it's three people in the same one. The other one, he didn't know I was going to do this. Y'all know Heath Dameron. All right. And what y'all may not know is that Heath and I have known each other for the better part of 2 decades. All right. So we were peers. We interacted with each other as graduate students, as postdocs, as faculty members. And it's really turned into something where he may not know this, but I look to Heath as a mentor also, and as a role model, the way he's built something. So the reason So the reason that I say these things, it was brought up earlier, you're going to have a graduate mentor, but the people sitting next to you and that you interact with on a daily basis in your science are going to take up those 3 things. And I would encourage you to foster those relationships and nurture them. Okay. Now there's a challenge to you as well. There's one thing to take those things from other people, but then you yourself need to become all 3 of those things. You need to mentor other people, be a good peer, and serve as a role model. And you'll have those opportunities, and it'll just, I don't know, it'll strengthen your life, I promise. Okay, so that's number 1. We good? All right, we'll go to number 2. I got to flip through here. So there's math involved, so you have to bear with me. And the way I titled this is work ethic is greater than intelligence, and it equals 1.5 months per year. And I'm going to get there. All right. So I am by no means the smartest person in the room ever. Okay. But what we do is we work hard. And that was something, again, from people who were mentors and things. We work, and you can work. And I just encourage you to work and love it. We'll get to love in a little bit. So how many of you, I'm going to ask questions. Everybody's done plasmid preps? Show of hands. Let's be active here. Yeah. So you start the culture the day before, you split your cells, you prepare for the animal experiment. So let's do a scenario. You could do that on Monday and then run the experiment on Tuesday, right? Or you could come in on Sunday and set up that culture, split those cells, and do the experiment on a Monday, right? So if you do that every day, every week, you're getting an extra day. All right. If you do the math with me, weeks per year, we'll call it 49 extra days a year because the math works out, 7 weeks, and that's a month and a half. It'll be a month and a half sooner that you get to your conclusions and you can move forward. And that may not sound like much, but take every opportunity to be in the lab and just enjoy it and work hard. Okay. So with that, I didn't go into Saturdays too. That would be a whole different math. And then also, I think that's why they invited me, because an outside person, I can say, y'all work 7 days a week, but if they say that here, they might get in trouble. But really work hard and enjoy it. Okay. So that's the work ethic component. And then the final one I have, it's a little long too. I almost had a Fleming quote. I'm glad that I didn't, like a Fleming suggestion, but yeah, the microbiologist in me. So the last thing I'm going to say, and there's 3 parts to this one, the third of 3. So I'm going to call it the drug, your brand of beauty and love. And I think the greatest of those is love. All right. And this is kind of my philosophical part for you. So it came up earlier too. When you have that breakthrough, that discovery, there's nothing like that feeling in the entire world. And I think most of the people out here who've been in research, we've experienced that, but it's not numerous. It's less than a handful of times. And when you get that and you see that, it is so powerful and it will drive you forward. And the story I want to tell you, are people still running films in a dark room? Y'all doing autoradiography? If you don't know, you would go into the dark room and the red light would shine and you have your film going through and you're just waiting, for it to come out, and you hold the film up and you see your RNA, your DNA, your protein, and it's earth shattering sometimes. It's rare, but when it happens, I've had those moments, just a couple in my life, and it really just drives you forward, and it's a feeling like something else. So I say, seek that for yourself. Okay. And don't forget when it comes by accident to recognize it. I think it's great. All right. The second part, your brand of beauty. As much as we love science and everything, find your beauty sometimes outside of this place. A lot of us look at beauty as paintings or music or thing, but your beauty may be the sound of a mountain stream. It could be the smell of fresh cut grass. Any fisherman in the room, it could be the feel of your reel giving drag when you catch a fish. Whatever it is, make sure you find something that you're passionate about outside of this place. It'll make your science even better. Okay, I promise. And then the last one, like I said, is love. And I think just fall in love with your work and enjoy it, and make sure you every single day, it may not be easy, that was brought up earlier as well. Nothing's going to work right every single time, but if you love it and you're working hard at it, it will definitely be worth it. So with that, I wish you all the best. I am so grateful for the opportunity to be here. And there's folks, Dr. Barebi, Dr. Munir, thank y'all for taking a chance on me back in the day and bringing me to this wonderful program. And thanks to all my mentors and folks around. But good luck to you all. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Caswell, for your words of wisdom and encouragement. We're now going to transition into the coding ceremony. And I'm going to ask Samantha and Andrew to stand. Samantha's here. Andrew is over here. It's tradition that the graduate student organization president and vice president announce the names of the students that will be coded in the ceremony. Samantha Thompson is GSO president. She's a fourth-year student in the biochemistry and molecular medicine program. And Andrew Strutz is GSO vice president. He is a second-year student in the immunology and microbial pathogenesis program. All right, you can be seated. And Samantha, I'm going to have you come to the stand, and then can the students in the first row please stand, and we will begin the coding ceremony.
We will begin with the School of Medicine doctoral programs. Biochemistry and Molecular Medicine. Program directors are Dr. Roberta Leonardi and Dr. Aaron Robart. Shruti Balaji, coded by Dr. Aaron Robart. Brooke Brothers, coded by Dr. Aaron Robart. Rahatul Islam, coded by Dr. Aaron Robart. Sarah Starkovic, coded by Dr. Aaron Robart. Cancer Cell Biology. Program Director, Dr. Ed Pistilli. Alan Meisner, coded by Dr. Ed Pistilli. Cellular and Integrative Physiology. Program directors are Dr. Stan Heilman and Dr. Scott Levick. Subhanki Paul, coded by Dr. Venkatesh Sundararajan. Euthecina, coded by Dr. Mark Alford. Dr. Stan Heilman. Clinical and Translational Science. Program directors are Dr. Mark Alford and Dr. Paul Chandler. Mackenzie Durkis, coded by Dr. Nicole Stout. Immunology and Microbial Pathogenesis. Program Director, Dr. Corey Robinson. Michaela Barber, coded by Dr. Aminata Koulibaly. Madison Cooper, coded by Dr. Stacy Anderson. Emily Henderson, coded by Dr. Slavik Lukomsky. Gwen Hopen, coded by Dr. Jennifer Franco. Carlina Rokuski Marker, coded by Dr. Mariette Barbier. Maeve Morris, coded by Dr. John Busada. Mercy Ojatunde, coded by Dr. Tim Eubank. Lily Powell, coded by Dr. Slavik Lukomsky. Nathaniel Rader, coded by Dr. Heath Dameron. Andrew Strutz, coded by Dr. Mariah Catt. Dylan Thomas, coded by Dr. Tracy Liu.
Hello. From the Neuroscience Graduate Program, program directors are Dr. Bernie Schurz and Dr. Zach Well. Matthew Kays, coded by Dr. Emanana Koulibaly. Rebecca Thrun, coded by Dr. James Mahoney. Pathophysiology, Rehabilitation, and Performance. Program directors are Dr. John Hollander and Dr. Dehendra Thapa. Stuart Clayton, coded by Dr. Ed Bistilli. Jenna Crawford, coded by Dr. Derendra Thapa. Nicole Emmenheiser, coded by Dr. Paul Chandler. Alexis Thrower, coded by Dr. Bethany Barone Gibbs. Now for doctoral programs within the School of Pharmacy. Health Services and Outcomes Research. Program Director, Dr. Khalid Kamal. Keruhi Adikare, coded by Dr. Abdullah Al-Mamoon. Safalta Kadka, coded by Dr. Sabina Nawaguba. Pharmaceutical and Pharmacological Sciences. Program directors are Dr. Werner Goldenheis and Grazina Scars. Jeffrey Picard, coded by Dr. Paul Lockman. William Pence, coded by Dr. Sharon Babola. We now recognize students in the School of Public Health. From the Epidemiology Graduate Program, Program Director is Dr. Ranjita Misra. Noor Abdulhay, coded by Dr. Ruchi Bandari. Caitlin Dodd, coded by Dr. Caroline Groth. Occupational and Environmental Health Sciences. Program Director is Dr. Ranjita Misra. Bailey Regetz, coded by Dr. Michael McFrawley. Ya Twum, coded by Dr. Waymen Gao. Social and Behavioral Sciences. Program Director is Dr. Ranjita Misra. Maya Bashata, coded by Dr. Keith Zolig. Please join me in congratulating our students.
Okay, now I would like to invite to the podium Samantha Thompson, who will lead the students in the ethical affirmation for scientists.
The ethical affirmation for scientists was written by WVU School of Medicine faculty members, Drs. Robert Craig, Ann Cather, and James Culberson, and published in the prominent journal Science in 2003. It refers to biomedical and health scientists across all disciplines, and especially those whose research impacts our health and well-being, whether the target is a single molecule or a large data set evaluating population health outcomes. As you continue your research, it is appropriate for you to take a few minutes and contemplate some of the ethical demands you may encounter during your career. You may be faced with conflicts of interest, as well as other situations that require decisions of an ethical nature. The ethical affirmation you are about to repeat represents what you should strive for throughout your career. You have already signed your name to show your commitment to conducting research that is of the highest standards. You will now repeat the affirmation aloud together. At this time, would the PhD students please stand? We also invite all scientists in the audience to stand and repeat the ethical affirmation along with our students. Please repeat after me. As I embark on my career as a biomedical scientist, I willingly pledge that I will honorably represent my scientific profession, that I will conduct my research and my professional life in a manner that is always above reproach, and that I will seek to incorporate the body of ethics and moral principles that constitute scientific integrity into all that I do. I will strive always to ensure that the results of my research and other scientific activities ultimately benefit humanity and that they cause no harm. With this affirmation, I pledge to acknowledge and honor the contributions of scientists who have preceded me, to seek truth in the advancement of knowledge in all my work, and to become a worthy role model, deserving of respect by those who follow me.
At this time, we would like to recognize and celebrate some of our doctoral students with outstanding achievements and contributions within the 2022-2023 academic year. Several receiving national recognition. You can find a complete list of awards and honors in your program and the insert inside your program. For those who received national recognition and they're here today, I'm going to read each of their names and accomplishments, at which time I will ask them to come to the stage. They'll receive a certificate and have a photo with Dr. Marsh and Dr. Lay. So I'm going to give you both the certificate. All right, one of the highest accomplishments that a doctoral student can achieve is being awarded a competitive external fellowship from a national funding agency. Today, we want to recognize those students who recently received the Ruth L. Kirstein Predoctoral Individual National Research Service Award, also known as the F31 or F30, or the Individual Predoctoral to Postdoctoral Fellow Transition Award, F99 K00. And this is from the National Institutes of Health or from the American Heart Association. The following individuals have current active awards and are present today. Amber Mills, fourth-year immunology and microbial pathogenesis student, and whose mentor is Dr. Mark Olfert. All right, Andrew Taylor. Andrew's a sixth-year pathophysiology, rehabilitation, and performance student, and his mentor is Dr. John Hollander. We also want to acknowledge other students who have achieved national recognition. Evan Kramer is a fourth-year biochemistry and molecular medicine student. His mentor is Dr. Aaron Robart, and this is in recognition of his Margaret C. Etter Student Lecturer Award at the American Crystallographic Association Conference. Trupti Dumal. Trupti is a fifth-year health services and outcomes student, and her mentor is Dr. Kimberly Kelly. This is in recognition of her meritorious abstract award at the Society for Behavioral Medicine annual meeting. Misa Shah. Misa is a fifth-year clinical and translational sciences doctoral student. Her mentor is Dr. Benoit Dreschart. This is in recognition of her Best Oral Presentation Award at the International Conference on EPR Spectroscopy and Imaging of Biological Systems. Each year, the Health Sciences Office of Research and Graduate Education accepts nominations recognizing graduate students for their leadership, service, and overall commitment to the Mountaineer values. These nominations are from their peers and faculty colleagues, and we're pleased to share this year's winners with you. Carly Amato Menker. Carly is a fifth-year immunology and microbial pathogenesis student. This is in recognition of her receiving the Research and Graduate Education Outstanding Service Award during Graduate Student Appreciation Week. Kent Marshall. Kent is a fourth-year clinical and translational sciences and MD PhD student. And this is in recognition of him receiving the Research and Graduate Education Outstanding Mountaineer Values Award during Graduate Student Appreciation Week. Okay. And Saina Prabhu. Saina is a fourth-year pharmaceutical and pharmacological sciences student, and this is in recognition of her receiving the Research and Graduate Education Competitive International Fellowship Award. You can be seated. Now I'd like to present Clay Caswell with the gift of appreciation for being here as our guest speaker. To all of our student scientists, a warm congratulations to all of you. It's so exciting to be here with you now, and I look forward to seeing where you are 5 years and then 10 years from now, carrying that mountaineer spirit and those values of service, curiosity, respect, accountability, and appreciation with you. Congratulations again, and we wish you all the best in the remainder of your graduate studies. I now invite Dr. Clay Marsh to the podium to provide some remarks and to close the ceremony for us.
Well, thank you so much. And Julie told me to limit my remarks to 30 minutes or so, or less. So first of all, I want to recognize Ming Lee and Julie Lockman and our Office of Research and Graduate Education. Everybody from the office, please stand up and be recognized. Come on. Next, I'd like to invite all of our faculty and staff who are part of our research enterprise. Please stand up and be recognized. Stand up. Come on, people. And then I'd like to have all of the family members, friends, supporters, spouses of our students, please stand up so that they can recognize you, please. And you guys will get love in a minute. So first of all, I'd like to clear up a few things that were stated earlier that we definitely want to make sure that we're clear on. No cigars. or cigarettes or e-cigarettes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Second thing is that our guest speaker is obviously a brilliant man named Clay. First time I saw him, I'm like, you are something else. You're good. Yeah, well, I'll stay away from that. I wanted to read a quote, and I want you guys who haven't been here before. Am I coming through okay in the back? Yep. So I want you guys to know that this auditorium is flanked by our Health Sciences Museum. And the person that created the Health Sciences Museum was a great clinical researcher named Bill Neal. And Bill started a project that is still going on called the Cardiac Project, which was a study that followed children from very young ages and started to outline and define cardiovascular risk factors in children as they became adults. And he became recognized by many of our scientific bodies, including the American Heart Association, et cetera. Bill died about a year ago or so, and he wanted to finish this museum that is outside. So if you have a chance after the ceremony, please go through the museum. But weirdly, in the midst of Bill wanting to finish this museum, we met a gentleman named Peter Salk. Now, that name may sound somewhat familiar to some people in the audience because his dad was Jonas Salk. And Jonas Salk was really one of the critical researchers to produce the vaccine for polio. And Jonas Salk has a quote that he used at one other approved place in the world, which is the Salk Institute, the museum that celebrates our health science history is the second place in the world that quote has been approved by the Salk Foundation. And the quote is, "Hope lies in dreams and imagination and in the courage of those who dare to make the dreams into reality." And that is what we are really standing on the precipice of seeing our students, our investigators solving problems that change lives of people, extend lives of people, improve lives of people, maybe even improving the health of our population. And that is a worthy effort indeed. I think it's really important to note that not only do most people through their lives have, if they're lucky, have one mentor. Actually, the average number of mentors for one of our students is 7. So look around, find people that inspire you, find people that motivate you, and go to them. Because one of the great things about getting older, like me, as one of my smart mentors said, that not knowing the answer to something doesn't embarrass you or make you feel as bad. And it enables you to go ask somebody really smart what they think is going on so that you'll learn something. And we have an opportunity to learn something every day. The word science comes from the root word sire, which means to know. Today in our world, knowledge is advancing every 12 hours by doubling. That is crazy. Knowledge is doubling every 12 hours. Now, the kind of knowledge that's doubling every 12 hours may not be the kind of knowledge you're going to put in the paper, maybe more you're going to see on Instagram. On the other hand, it is really a vexing problem. And Albert Einstein said that imagination is more important than knowledge because imagination is what's not known versus knowledge that is what is known. And I would just advise you when you write your research paper, use knowledge, not imagination, which will go a lot farther. But I think it says that you're really in a field that you have the ability to really serve and change people's lives. Mother Teresa said, don't count numbers, help every person and start with the person in front of you. And I would say to you, as you're going on your journey, don't look for the destination, appreciate the journey with the people that will inspire you and elevate you and help you learn and grow. I'll reflect on one quick story from my own research career, which had many twists and turns and had many fewer successes than it did failures, but it did ultimately serve the purpose of helping me grow and helping us train people that have gone out and done great things in the world. But I had a technician that joined me in our laboratory early in my time. And I came up to the lab and I said, well, how did the experiment go today? And my technician said it was bad. It was very bad. And I'm like, okay, why was it bad? And she said it worked out exactly the opposite as we thought. And I said, well, that may be really good. Is it reproducible? And it turned out that was probably the best observation that we ever made in the lab. And so afterwards, I come up to the lab and I said, how's it going? And she sometimes would say, it's very good, very good. And I said, well, how's it good? She said, just the opposite of what we thought. So I would say that sometimes the stuff that doesn't work, that you don't expect, is the best stuff if you pay attention to it. And we're just so proud of you and proud of our faculty. And we think that you're at a great place to learn and to grow, but don't mistake the journey for a intermittent destination, because your journey is one that is quite infinite, that will never end, but will never stop giving you a purpose and interesting people and interesting things to see for the very first time that maybe you can share with others and change the world for our state, our country, and our world. Thank you so much.
Students, please remain seated. We're going to have a group photo, and the stage party will join us for that photo. Everyone else, we want to invite you to join us outside in the pylons for a reception. And thank you all again for being here.
Steve.